that you can decide to go to the expert level, which has to do with Python. Some are using Python, some are using R. This one now, you are now picking a particular programming language for data analytics. This is on the very high side. All right, but the main thing is getting the first level right. Every other thing you're going to do is dependent on this first two. All right, after the training, it's not only us that are running the training, there are several. But then our course outline is in resonance with Microsoft certification. So if you want to write the Microsoft certification exams after the training, you can. All you just need to do is to read more and read deeper. We are using almost the same course outline as Microsoft. But then Google, they are also running the training, Google Data Analytics. But then they are not allowed to do the certification, because if you go online to Google, you can look for any answer from Google. You definitely create an answer for you. So they don't allow them to do the certification. Then we also have IBM, which is International Business Machine. They also render the training. And also we are Real Solutions Technologists. We also give the certificate. We're also certified for the 3 levels of training. Now, let's now dig deeper a bit so that we leave the stories and then we get started. We said data analytics has 4 types: descriptive, diagnostics, prescriptive, and predictive. Now,
Hello, sir.
yes, sir.
Please, sorry for interrupting you.
All right.
I want to ask the after this entire course,
Yes.
what certificate are we going to have? Is it the real solution one or the three that is listed there?
No, 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 no. Is from Royal Solutions. You understand what I'm saying now? It's from Royal Solutions. Now, what I mean
Okay,
is,
sir.
some persons do training from Google, they will get the professional certificate. Some people do from through IBM, you get a certificate. You do from Royal Solutions, you get a certificate. Whether you do Microsoft certification, that's not the problem. The main thing is, can you deliver results? That's what matters. But some person decide to say they don't just want only certificates. They want to do certification. Certification is authorized through Microsoft. The cost of the exam at the moment is just $165. That's the cost of writing the exams. So if you want to write the exams, it's just $165. So I don't know if I've answered your question, sir. All right, let me proceed. Now, the entire data analytics process, quote me anywhere in the world, it has 5 steps. When you understand the 5 steps, you'll be able to analyze any data. Trust me. Why it looks like as if we are professionals is because we understand the principles and then we are applying it. And that's why, by God's grace, most of our students, they get jobs easily. Let me be clear, we don't get jobs for them, no. We send links, we encourage them, because when you are done, we'll expose you to where you can. There are a lot of places to apply to. We will not go through the interview for you, no. You will go through the interview yourself. But if you prepare very well, definitely you get the job. That's one. 2, some person decide to say they also want to start their own thing. There's a particular topic that we're going to get to. We call it the business of data analytics. I personally teach that to all the students. You can decide to set up your own. But we'll tell you that, okay, before you set up, fine. When you understand it very well, whether first, second, or the 3rd level, do your internship. Most of our students, when they are done, some do internship with us. Of course, that one is non-negotiable. We are going to write your project. The project is not theory like we write in school. No, we give you topics You're going to analyze data professionally. And also we'll send links to you where you're going to do your internship with some companies outside Nigeria. So that you don't just think locally. No, you think globally. You're going to act globally. You're going to see real-time cases, real-time scenarios. But please, let me re-echo what I'm going to say over and over and over. Don't focus on just the tools. Oh, I know Power BI. Oh, I know SQL. Oh, I know Python. Oh, I know Power Query. No, that's not the main thing. Yes, it's good to know them. Focus on the process. Don't focus on the tool. Focus on the process. If you focus on the process, you can become a consultant in a short time. Data will come from different sides. HR data, which is human resource data, is not the same as medical data. It's not the same as customer service data. It's not the same as oil and gas. It's not the same as engineering. It's not the same as pharmaceutical. It's not the same as if you are in the sales field. So data varies a lot. But if you understand the principle, irrespective of the data, you'll be able to analyze it. But when you don't know the principle, you say, this one, they're not going to teach me. No. You just pause, do the thinking. What is the first thing I need to do? If anybody give me any data now, the first thing I will do is I will follow these 5 steps. Number 1, to prepare the data. How do I prepare the data? I will first of all collect the data. Before I collect, I will verify. Let me throw light a bit. Let me follow what is here. The data analyst has to set the objective. That means you define the problem statement. Please help me mute your mic. I think I'm hearing myself. Please, so that I will not be hearing myself. Thank you. All right. The data analyst has to set the objective. That means you have to define the problem statement. What is the problem they want me to solve in this data? Don't just run and collect data and then you start analysis. No, sit down and ask yourself, what do they want? What problem do they want me to solve? You must first understand the problem. If you don't understand the problem, ask the right question. For example, you can have 2 different companies giving you data. One is telling you that they want to set up another branch in another location. One is telling you that who should they promote. It's not the same. One might say which product should they focus on. One might say which region should they sell more. So it varies a lot. So you must understand what problem you want to solve. Also, if there are things you don't understand, ask the right questions. Not when you leave their office, you're not asking, I don't understand. What is this data saying? No. Sorry. Looking at this data that I'm having, who is this? What is the role of this column? What does this column do? We'll get to that as we proceed. Then understand the data requirements. Then collect the data. That is, get the data. After that, you now confirm the integrity of the data. What does that mean? Number 1, if they say this data we are giving you is having 100 rows, right there in their office, confirm that it's 100 rows. Because let me be honest with you, especially all these HR companies, some of them might want to quickly remove data, maybe some rows or some columns. Maybe they have some ghost staffs and you are not aware. If you just sign and say you are collecting 100 rows and then you leave, then you get to your own office and you find that it's 90. By the time you will call back, if mistakenly you now have to call the MD will just look at you and say, does this guy know what he's saying? And it might make them lose trust in you. So please, number 1, when you are preparing the data, it involves setting the objective, define the problem statement, ask the right questions. First, understand the data requirement, then collect the data. After that, you confirm the integrity of the data before you now go through what you call transformation and cleaning the data. Transform means, just like in Microsoft Word, you have a statement given to you. You can decide to make it bold, you can increase the font size, you can make it superscript, you can underline. All those ones are transformation. Then you look at the data if it's dirty, and then you now clean the data. For now, we are understanding the process. So the first step is prepare the data. Now, number two, when you are done with that data preparation stage, you now move into modeling the data. We call it data modeling. At this level, you create a relationship, especially if you have more than one data set. For example, if you are having maybe just one data and it's have maybe 100 rows and maybe 10 columns, fine. But when you have, for example, now you have a data and they are giving you 2019 record, 2020 record, and 2021 record. That's 3-year data. First, you don't just start analyzing. You must create a relationship. You know that there are three different years from the same company. They don't know how to create relationship. They are not trained to do that. Whether it's an accountant, she doesn't know, he doesn't know. Whether it's the manager, they just have it. So those data now becomes complicated in their face. You now need to create a relationship between them and then merge them together to become one, which now gives the data a proper shape. The first thing is you prepare the data. When you are done preparing the data, you model the data, creating a relationship between them. Then number three, you now start the analysis. During this step, you are now trying to find the insights. What are the hidden things inside the data? You will uncover it. You look at the pattern, what has been happening over the years, over the months, over the weeks. You look at the trend. Oh, there was a time that hypo was running in Nigeria. Now it's no longer hypo. It's no longer JIC rather. Now it's hypo. Why? Because hypo look at it and say, JIC only has one design, one brand, and is only meant for a few persons who can afford it at a time. When hypo was coming to the market, they analyzed the mechanism and they said, let us make hypo available everywhere. That was all. Now, you can be able to predict outcome during your analysis and then communicate your results in a way that everyone who is not a data analyst can understand. That's why you are going through the training, because they are waiting for your result of analysis. They are the owner of the data. You don't own the data. Your duty is not generating data. They are already going to generate data themselves. You are finding insights. You are identifying patterns. You are looking at the trend. You can predict the outcome. For example now, if let's say a company, I'm just assuming now it's a hypothetical case, maybe they're having 5 salesperson, and out of the 5, 4 is selling very well. Maybe the one that is now the least selling person was the best selling in the first week. What happens? You can go further to know maybe the person fell sick. Oh, we are going to sack this person because we only want 4 out of 5. As an analyst, you look at week 1, compare week 1, week 2, and week 3, and week 4. Maybe you're on week 4-week probation. You can say, oh no, this person should not be sacked. Because in week 1, he was the best salesperson. Overall, not the best salesperson. They can call the person for questioning. Person can open up, maybe the person fell sick, maybe there was rain that was falling, maybe other things happened. If they lose their best selling person to another company, that other company will do better than them. When BlackBerry started, nobody saw the iPhone coming. They thought they were going to rule the market over the years. But when iPhone came, they analyzed BlackBerry and found out that they cannot communicate with other phones easily. And that was all. So the first step is prepare the data. The second step is you model the data. And then the third step is you analyze the data. Good. Then when you are done with your analysis, you now have to do what we call visualization, where you create a dashboard. Not like what you had in your Excel, your regular Excel, where you're having maybe 1 chart, 2 chart, 3 charts, maybe on different worksheets. You can have as much as 10, 20 sheets on one. being controlled by the use of slicers to bring out the expected result. We will come to that later as we proceed. Now, at this level, we said data analyst will be telling a compelling story using visuals, colors, fonts, shapes, and diagrams to represent the findings at this stage. And the last stage is manage the data. At this point, you now have to write your report, create a dashboard, make this report available and accessible, whether your clients are in remote places, far places. You can use cloud platforms, you can use different platforms to be able to share with them what the outcome of your result is. Now, remember that whatever report you are going to write must be actionable. Actionable in the sense that they must take a decision with it. It must be something that they can put to work and then see the result. But then you have to be also careful when you're writing your report. Not that you're going to write emphatically, if you do this, this will happen. No. Based on the historical data, this is what you saw. And if the company decides they want to get 30%, 50%, 60%, this is what you are recommending they do. You are making a recommendation. Anything can still happen. But then they must see a better result. So now, let me run through that. I said data analytics has 5 steps. 1, prepare the data, model the data, analyze, visualize, and manage. So you can see the acronym here. I called it the PMAVM process. That's the acronym for the data analytics, the data analytics process. Now, the first one here, which is prepare the data, is also called the ETL process. The first step of the data analytics process, which is prepare the data, is also called the ETL process. ETL means extract, transform, and load. We can call extract more like get the data, transform, change the look, how it looks like, taking it to Power Query, clean it, and then load the data back for further analysis. Then, the first step, which is still to prepare the data, has 4 steps involved in it. The first step is set the objective, define the problem statement, understand the need of the client, what problem am I to solve, what questions to answer, what decision to take, or what trend or insights to discover. That is step 1. Step 1 means you set the objective. Step 2 talks about measures. Measure is, let me use this English. You are asking yourself, what data do I need to measure to get the information? What entities do I need to investigate? What are the characteristics? Let me now break it down. A measure is made up of objects. Look at another word, tables. And inside the objects, we have variables, which is called columns. And then we have the data dictionary, the details about each of the column. Now let me open Excel so that we understand what I'm saying a bit. Please, if you have any question while my Excel screen is coming up, please, you can ask. There's something I want to show us on that so that we can get it right. Okay, let me use this. All right. All right, so while my Excel sheet is coming up, please let someone confirm that you can see my screen and then you can see the data. Please, you can unmute your mic. Help me confirm if you can see the screen, the Excel data.
Yes, I can see it, sir.
Okay, fine. This is the okay, fine, good. Thank you. You can mute back. Now, you can mute your mics. Thank you. Good. Now, this is an example of a sales record of a company. And this is going to be our classwork tonight. This is what we're going to work on tonight. I'm just trying to preempt us on what we want to do. Now, in data analytics, this is called an object. This is not just a data set. Just hold on. Let me explain what I mean. Let me copy this guy to another sheet and then let me paste it. All right, good. All right. You can unmute your mics now. I'm going to ask questions. Thank you. I want to ask questions. Just watch. Good. Look at my sheet 1 and look at my sales sheet. Who can tell me the difference between the two? This is the data I sent to us yesterday. Who can tell me the difference between this guy and this guy? Anyone? Just look at it closely, clearly, relax. Nobody's marking us right or wrong. Like I said earlier, my focus is you understand the process. Yeah. Anyone? Sorry, you said?
I said there is filter in the other one.
Hey, sorry, your voice is far from your system. I can barely hear you.
I said there is filter in the other one.
Okay, there is filter on the other one. Okay, yeah, that's true. You're correct. This guy is having a filter. This is a filter. But then, it is not just a filter.
In the second one, it's filter.
The second one is not having any filter, which is true. Yes. But now, let me now show you the difference between the two. This guy is just a data set. Do we get it? This guy is just a data set.
Don't see as a worry, I think just look at it.
Whereas this guy is not just a data set. It has been converted to a table. How do I mean? I go back to sheet 1. Now watch what I want to do. If I want to convert this guy to a table, now when you say a filter, regular Excel, you could come here and then, and then go to sort and filter and then add the filter. Yes, you've added a filter. But that you added the filter doesn't mean you have converted it to a data set. It's not the same. That's where I'm going to. So now I've undo it. Now, what I want to do now, to convert this data set now to a table so that it can be one that will have the filter. Click anywhere inside the cell and press Ctrl A. Look at it. Anywhere inside the cell and press Ctrl A. Now, what you have done is you have selected all. If you look at it, it's not selecting anywhere outside the data. Let me click outside the data and press Ctrl A. It will select the entire worksheet. That is wrong. So now, I will click inside the table itself, anywhere inside the table, and press Ctrl A. Look at the difference. It will only select where you have the data. Then from there, The next step is you press Control T. T for tab. T for tab. Then
Control what? Control T.
yes. T for Tottenham. Yeah, Control T. Okay. So now with that, you now click on OK. Good. So now the filter is back. It has added the filter like we had here. But now, where the challenge lies is, what we need to understand rather, is that this guy has now become an object. This is now an object. Inside the object now, you are having columns, right? That's what we know in Excel. But in data analytics, each of this one is no longer a column. It's now called a variable. So this is my variable 1, variable 2, variable 3. Please help me mute your mic so that I will not. Thank you. All right, each column has now become a variable. Please, we need to get this area right so that when we begin to pivot, we will not get it wrong. Each column is a variable. Together is an object. So going back to where I came from here, okay, look at it now. What took us there is we are talking about objects, which is measure. We are talking about objects. So now we call object a table. So when you have converted a data set, just a group of columns and rows, you've used your control and then you have converted it to an object, which is also called a table. Then that means it is now having a variable. You are no longer calling it columns because it's not working alone again. Please, do we understand? Let me go back. Okay, Mr. Raphael, please. I'm seeing your hand raised.
So what do you mean by a data set, sir?
Okay, a data set. Okay. Now,
Yes.
this is a data set. Just like what you know, it's not having a filter. No filter. So it's not easy to understand it. For example now, the one that has a filter, if I come here, I can tell the total number of products the company is selling. Can you see? 1, 2,
Yes, sir.
3, 4, 5. I can see I'm having those 5 products in all. I can look at the total types of purchase. Okay, they only have 3 purchase types. You can either buy from their store directly, you can place order online, or you can buy through a sales agent. Now let me ask you a practical question. On Jumia, which purchase type do they have? Jumia. On Jumia, which
Hello, the online. They have the online
one?
purchase type.
One. Any other one?
I think they also have the sales agent.
If you buy from a sales agent, then you have to be careful. You are not buying from Jumia. So whatever happens is between you and the sales agent. Jumia is not going to take ownership. Now, these are strategies that these mega companies have understood, and they're using it to dominate the market. It's called the business model. Their model is the same thing as what Konga is doing. The only difference is Konga recently they are having physical offices, at least in Port Harcourt. I know the physical office of Konga at Transamadi. Jumia only have delivery places. They don't have an office that you can call a Jumia office. I'm just trying to show you how they are applying these models to themselves. Now, our supermarket generally, most of them are in-store. You go to their offices to buy. Now, some of them now have applied the online. That's why they are going to sell online. So, I'm just trying to show you the meaning, because as an analyst, you need to understand what is happening behind the scene. Okay, so back to where I came from. So that's that about measure. Then number 3, you get the data. Now, it is not every time that you get data from the companies directly. Some might be on a particular website. Some, they might have a place they are storing their data. They can grant you access. Then, when you have, and the data can be in different formats. Some can be in Excel, some can be in CSV. CSV means comma separated values. That is Notepad. Some might be a text format, some might be JPEG, some might be JSON, some might be SQL, some might be HTML. We're going to play with some of them as we proceed. Then, the fourth thing you will now do is to clean the data. Let me do a review before I proceed. We talked about the 4 types of data analytics: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. From tomorrow now, we'll be applying them a lot. I know what I'm saying. Now, we also have the data analytics process. 5 steps. Don't cram, understand it. Look at me now. I'm not trying to just focus on Excel or on Power BI or Power Query or DAX expression or Power Pivot. No. Or maybe SQL because I'm a programmer or whatever. No, that's not my problem. My problem is I've understood the process, so I can apply it. Even in my teaching, I'm applying it. I'm not the only instructor on this platform. I have an assistant, but at the moment she's a bit busy because there might be days maybe I'm analyzing data, a client is on my neck, they want me to submit a report the next day, or I'm doing a presentation somewhere. I don't want the class to pause at any point in time. All right. We also have the 5 steps, PMAVM. Just know the acronym. The first one is DDPP. The second one is PMAVM. Then we said prepare the data is also called what? Anyone? What did I call the data preparation stage? Another name for it. Anyone? I call it the ETL process. When you are reading some materials online, some professional materials, some of them will not break it down like this. They will just say, your first stage is ETL, and then you are starting to say, which one is ETL? Like in Microsoft now, they were talking about ETL more. ETL means extract, transform, and load. Now, the second, we now said that same first step, because the most important is this first step, prepare the data. If you don't prepare your data very well, everything you are going to do will be wrong. Take it or leave it. If your data is not clean, your modeling will be wrong. So the data analysis, your analyzing data step will also be wrong. So the core is prepare the data. Then after that, we now talk about the 4 steps, which is OMGC. Objective, measure, get, and clean. Objective, measure, get, and clean. Now, we said a data analyst reviews data to identify key insights into a business customer and ways the data can be used to solve problems. Please, I want to move on so that we can play with a bit of data. But then before I proceed, do we have questions before I move on? Any question, please, feel free and ask. So that I will not be the one that will do all the talking. Can we proceed if there are no questions? Hello? Can we proceed if there are no questions? All right. Okay. I'll be moving into the second section where I'll be explaining some things about Excel at large. Some of them we already know them, and some we might not know them. So, all right. So I'll be going into the second section now. It's just a summary of what Excel is about, and then we make use of some functions. I'll introduce us to it, and then we move on from there. Okay, good. Now, we all know what Excel is. Some said it's a computer application program that is used for calculation purposes, which is true. So, let me call up the Excel worksheet so that I'll just get us acquainted with some things. We already know some of them. Now, let me zoom out. Good. Now, in Excel, these are columns, column A, B, C, D, E, and the likes. And then these are rows, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Where a column and a row meet is called a cell. Now, where am I now is E6 because I'm inside column E, row 6. If I click here, I'm inside column I, row 5. All right, good. Now let's look at something. This is where I am now at the moment. Look at where my mouse is, where I just highlighted. It's called the name box. The name box displays where your cell is at the moment. So now, if let's say I want to move to Z1000, that means I have to scroll first to 1000. You can see. Then I will now go to LMNOP, RST, then I'll go to Z. But instead of going through that stress, you just go to your name box here, and then wait. Okay, Microsoft is saying that I'm having 15 minutes. All right. So, but no problem. Once we are done with this session, I'll send another link so that we can continue from there. All right.
Okay, sir.
All right. So, look at it now. I just go to my name box here, and I just type Z. Let's say I'm going to Z1000. Can you see? And just press enter. Look at where it is. Straight is on Z1000. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, outside the name box, there's something that we were being told, maybe not you. When I started Excel, they told me that Excel does not have an end. Does anybody hear that?
Yes.
Good. But that's a lie. If I want to get to the end of this row now, look at what you do. Press and hold down your control key on your keyboard and press the arrow key that goes down. You know, we are having 4 cursor keys on the keyboard: up, down, left, and right. Hold down control key and press the cursor that is going down. You will see you will get to the end of your screen like this. When you get to this row, 1,048,576, Excel cannot give you any other row again. This is the end of the row of Excel. Please, has anyone tried it?
Try the control word.
Control down arrow. Let me see if I can use Microsoft Word to explain it. I just want us to understand it. Once we get the basics right, we'll just begin to fly. Insert shapes.
It's showing
I'm hearing you. What is it showing?
something in 10,485,076.
No, it's not 10 million, it's 1 million.
1 million.
It's 1 million.
1,485,000.
No. 1 million 48,576. 576.
76.
Do you understand, sir?
Oh, that's the end.
That's the end. It cannot go beyond that. Now, this is the reason why there are other tools that you can use to extend the functionality of Excel. What if you have a data? Let me give an example now. Excuse me. If you are going to get COVID data for Nigeria, is it going to be 1,048,000 rows that will be there? No. Even only in Rivers State, total number population of people in Rivers State is more than 1 million. Almost all the state has more than 1 million persons in their state. So these worksheets cannot contain it. That's why they now have to have some other tools like Power Query, who has more capabilities than what Excel can do. We'll get to that in a minute. Can I proceed? All right. Now, another thing I want to add before I go into functions is, you see these worksheets, this sheet 1, you can add more sheets, sheet 2, sheet 3. This sheet 1 now, as a data analyst, something should be different from you and a regular Excel user. Look at what I want to do. I want to first rename it. Let's say I'm naming it week 1. Good. I named this week 2. That's not all. Oh. I know you're already used to this. Then I named this week 3. Good. Outside that, look at what I want to do. I go back to my week 1. I right click. Then I say tab color. I give this one, let's say red. Now, when I click on week 2, week 1 showed very well. Let me go back to week 2. I right click. I go to tab color. I give it yellow. Look at week 1. Look at week 2. Then I go to week 3, I right click, I go to tab color. Let me give another color. Can you see?
Yes.
Good. So that when somebody look at your work, without you saying much, even if you are not there, they can understand, okay, in week 1, see what happened. In week 2, see what happened. In week 3, see what happened. Are you getting the logic gradually? I'm trying to get us acquainted with Excel a bit. Now, let me check how many minutes I have remaining so that I can prepare my
9 minutes.
Okay, 9 minutes. Please, when it remains 4 minutes, let me know. Thank you. All right, thank you, sir. All right, so now we have talked about cell, we've talked about the sheets. Good. So now I want to talk about some basic functions. We already know some of them, but we're going to use them again. I know we can use addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. Am I right? My assumption.
Yes.
Good. But then let me still do it for the sake of the class before I now move into others. Now, week 1. week 2, week 3. We'll do class work before we close today. So when I'm teaching, everybody please follow so that it will be easier when you get to classwork. I know talk, I will not look everybody. Alright, if I want to get my total now, that means what I need to do. Anytime you want to do any calculation, the first thing you do, you type equal to. When you type equal to, it activates the calculator in Excel. So I say equal to, let's say B2 plus B3, and I hit enter. It has added only week 2 and week 3. If I want it to add all, I'll say equal to sum from A1 to A3. Sorry, to C1. Oh, sorry. From A2, not A1. A2 to C2. Correct. All right. In this case, what we are used to is to drag the formula down, right? And then the answer comes. Am I right? That's one method. Another method, you could just click and instead of dragging, you just double click. So even if there are 1,000 rows, the answer will come. That's the first level, which is the addition. If it has to do with subtraction, I can say equal to E3 minus E2. Correct. And I press enter. That's the subtraction. If I want to do division, I can say equal to D2 divided by, let's say, F2. That's division. And if I'm doing multiplication, I can say equal to F2 times star, which is the multiplication sign, times, let's say, D3. That means you should say 14 times 60. F2 times D3. Good. We are familiar with these ones. But now I want to take a step forward now, which has to do with, from what you have in the manual, we have exponential sign. The exponential sign is always used with this symbol. It's called caret. The symbol is on top of 6. So when you press shift 6, this sign will come out. So let me go back. If I want to do, let's say, 4 square, that's 4 raised to power 2. 4 caret sign, which is shift 6, 2, enter. You have it. Let me zoom out well and redo it. If I want to say 5 raised to power 3, 5 exponential 3. That's 5 times 5 times 5. That's 125. Enter. That's exponential. So let me go back. Good. And then we have the percentage sign. Equal to A2 percent. You can see it's the same thing as equal to A2 divided by 100. It's still the same thing. So when you say 25% of 100, so I'll just say equal to 25. I'll put the percentage sign. That's 25% times, let me put 200. That's 25 over 100 times 200. So I should have, that should be 80. Sorry, 50. Yes, that's 1/4 of 200. That's 50. 25% of 200.
Remain 3 minutes, sir.
Sorry?
Remain 3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes. Okay, let me do it this way. Let me stop here Then I'll create another link. Then I'll send the other link so that it will not cut us off, and then we now begin to scramble. At least we thank God for tonight. Network is better. So let me just stop. I'll just create another link in less than 5 minutes so that we can continue on the other session. If you need the link to the video, let me know. I recorded the session so that I can send to us. Thank you.
Okay, sir.